sure that there was a stream running through my bedroom so I could listen to it as I went to sleep. If I were a king, I would make sure that nobody went hungry. Now, if you were kings or queens, what would you wish for? Somebody, what would you wish for? Yes, yes. A bunch of dogs, because they're wonderful companions, aren't they? Could you by chance say that in the king's voice? If I were queen, I would wish for dogs. Would you like to try? No? Okay, excellent. Okay, very well then. Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. If I were king,
Yes.
I would want a big pet panda.
A big pet panda. Excellent. Yes. A new motor for her grandpa's truck. Excellent. Okay, there's a few more. Yes. And if you feel like doing it in the voice of the king, that would be wonderful. Yes.
Well, something that a palace that wouldn't waste a lot of energy, and that it would be eco-friendly. An eco-friendly palace that would work.
Palace. Is that what you said?
I like
An eco-friendly palace. Excellent. Let's take two more. Yes.
If I were king,
Yes.
I would have infinite food for my cat.
Infinite food for your cat. Excellent. And one more in the corner in the very back.
I would wish for world peace.
Excellent. I would wish for world peace, he says. Excellent. Well, that's a perfect way to dive into the rest of the story. Because this is the story of a king who every day stood in his chamber, leaning against his windowsill, eating his puffed rice and honey, and talking to his advisor. Now, one day the king was doing just that. He was leaning against his eating his puffed rice and honey, and talking to his advisor, when gravity took over and that honey began to drip onto the windowsill. And the advisor saw that and said, Sire, there seems to be some honey on the windowsill. Let me do something about it. But the king said, never mind, it's not our problem. Now that is your part, so get your hands ready to be the king. Here we go, everybody, get your hands.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yes.
Never mind, it's not our problem. And so the king continued to lean against his windowsill, eating his and talking to his advisor. And once again, gravity took over, and that honey again began to drip down to the street below. Now, you are all very smart. I know you know that nothing goes to waste in nature. And soon, a little bee came along and started to eat that honey. But as I say, nothing goes to waste in nature. And soon, a lizard of sorts. Yes, anyone know what type?
Gecko.
Excellent! A gecko! Very good. A gecko came along and ate that bee. And soon a cat came along and ate that gecko. And soon a dog came along and started to chase that cat. Well, up above in the chamber, the advisor saw this and said, Sire, there seems to be a dog and a cat down below in the street fighting with each other. Don't you think we should do something about it? But the king said, never mind, it's not our problem. And so the king continued to lean against his windowsill, eating his puffed rice and honey, and talking to his advisor. Well, down below in the streets, the owner of the cat came along and started to beat on the dog. And the owner of the dog came along and started to beat on the cat. And soon the two of them were beating on each other. Well, up above in the chamber, the advisor saw this and said, Sire, there seems to be a man and a woman down below in the street fighting with each other. Don't you think we should do something about it? But the king said, never mind, it's not our problem. And so the king continued to lean against his
windowsill,
eating his
soft rice with honey,
and talking to his
advisor.
Well, down below in the streets, the friends of the owner of the cat came along and started to take sides with him. And the friends of the owner of the dog came along and started to take sides with her. And soon there were many people fighting in the streets. Things got so bad, in fact, that the police were called out. But when the police heard the story of the man and the woman, they too took sides. And soon they were fighting amongst themselves. Well, up above in the chamber, the advisor saw this and said, Sire, there seems to be many people down below in the street fighting with each other, including our police. Don't you think we should do something about it? But the king said, never mind, it's not our problem. And so the king continued to lean against his
windowsill,
eating his
soft rice and honey,
and talking to his
advisor.
Well, down below in the streets, things got so bad that the army was called out. And before anybody knew it, there was a full-out civil war. And you know what happens in wars? People get hurt, people get killed, buildings burn to the ground. And in fact, the very building that the king and his advisor were standing in started to burn. And the advisor, being the smart man that he was, didn't wait to ask the king whether he should do something about it. He started to run out of that burning building, and the king ran after him saying, Advisor, perhaps you were right. Perhaps that drop of honey was our problem.